The first week of no contact is where your brain tries to turn uncertainty into a story you can survive. You wake up and your hand reaches for your phone before you even think. You want a sign, a reply, a view, anything that tells your body you are not abandoned. If you feel this, you are not weak. Your nervous system is reacting to a bond that did not end cleanly. No contact is not a punishment. It is a way to stop feeding confusion long enough to see the truth. In this episode, we are going to separate two things in plain language: the story in your head and the pattern you can actually see. The story is the movie your mind makes to explain the silence. The pattern is what happens when you stop chasing and stop checking. The first week is when that pattern shows itself. If this kind of clarity helps your nervous system settle, subscribe. PsychBond is a daily decoder for psychology, relationships, and avoidant and anxious attachment patterns, so you stop guessing. Now, let us start with the biggest misunderstanding. People think no contact is a trick to make someone come back. Sometimes someone does come back, yes, but no contact is not a spell. It is a truth filter. It removes your usual habits that keep you attached, like sending one more message, watching stories, rereading old texts, checking their online status, or trying to act cool while you are panicking inside. When those habits stop, two things happen. Your body starts to detox from the loop, and you start to see what you were actually in. Were you in a bond with real effort and real repair? Or were you in a loop where you did most of the work and they did just enough to keep you hoping? The first week reveals that fast. When I say story versus pattern, I mean something normal. Story sounds like, maybe they are scared, but they love me. Pattern looks like, they vanish for days every time things get real. Story sounds like, they are just bad at texting. Pattern looks like, they only respond when you pull away. Story sounds like, they are overwhelmed. Pattern looks like, they keep you close, but never build anything steady. No contact is the moment you stop arguing with story and start reading pattern. Now, let us talk about why the first week feels so physical. Because your body learned that contact equals safety. A reply calms you. A little message makes your chest loosen. A view makes you feel seen. Those tiny hits of calm can become a drug when the bond is unstable. So when you stop contacting, your body loses the quick calm. It feels like withdrawal. You feel restless. You feel like you cannot focus. You feel like you need to do something right now. That urge is not romance. It is your nervous system trying to restore predictability. So do not shame yourself for the urges. Expect them. The first week is not about being perfect. It is about breaking the loop. Now, I'm going to walk you through the first 7 days in a way that normal people can use. Not as a rigid rule book, as a reality map. Day 1 is shock and bargaining. Your brain starts making deals. I will just send one clean message so they know I am not mad. I will just check once to see if they posted. I will just watch one story. I will just like one thing so they know I exist. This is the brain trying to reduce pain by creating contact. The problem is that contact in a confusing bond often increases pain later. Because you get a tiny hit of hope, then you crash again. So day 1 has one goal. Do not chase relief. You can write the message in notes, you can cry, you can pace, but you do not send the relief text. Day 2 is often the spike. The adrenaline is still high. Sleep is often worse. You wake up hoping they reached out. When they have not, you crash. Then your mind starts creating meaning. If they have not reached out, maybe I meant nothing. If they have not reached out, maybe they are with someone else. If they have not reached out, maybe I should do something before it is too late. That is story. It is your mind trying to protect you from uncertainty by forcing a conclusion. But day 2 is too early for conclusions. Day 2 is when you anchor to one simple truth. Busy people can still communicate. If someone wants you and has basic respect, they do not leave you in panic with no words for days. Day 3 is the test day. 3 days can feel like a lifetime when you are attached. This is when many people break no contact. The story says, if I do not reach out, I will lose them. The pattern says, if you were already losing them, reaching out cannot fix that. It can only delay the truth and cost you dignity. Day 3 is when you start seeing the first reveal. If the bond was built on you chasing, the silence will feel unbearable because you were the engine. If the bond had mutual effort, you still feel pain, but you also feel a clearer sense that you were not holding the whole thing alone. Day 4 is the first turning point for many people. Your body is still activated, but you get small windows of calm. You might laugh at something and then feel guilty for a second. You might focus for 20 minutes and then drift back. You might have one moment where you think, maybe I can survive this. That moment matters, because the fear under anxious attachment is not only losing them, it is feeling like you cannot breathe without the bond. Day 4 is where your body learns a new lesson. I can feel pain and still be okay. Day 5 is where reality gets louder than fantasy. This is often when you start remembering the whole pattern, not only the sweet moments. You remember how often you waited, how often you explained, how often you lowered your standards, how often you felt anxious in the middle of good moments. This is not you becoming bitter. This is you coming out of the fog. Day 6 is when many people get a ping, a like, a view, a casual hey, a small message that ignores the rupture. This is where no contact becomes real, because that ping can feel like oxygen. The story says, see, it worked. The pattern asks a better question. Is this repair, or is this a reset attempt? Repair means they address what happened and offer a different behavior. Reset means they act like nothing happened and hope you accept the old rules. Day 7 is when you decide how you will live. Not with a dramatic speech, with a standard. If they reach out without repair, you do not punish them. You do not beg. You require clarity. You ask one calm question. What do you want, and what are you offering? That is how the first week reveals reality. Now let us talk about the main reveals the first week can show you. Reveal 1 is whether the bond was mutual or managed. If you were the one always initiating, always checking, always smoothing things over, no contact will feel like you are holding your breath. That is because you were managing the bond. Reveal 2 is whether the other person can handle discomfort without disappearing. Some people handle discomfort with distance. No contact exposes that, because there is no constant reassurance from you. Reveal 3 is whether they respect boundaries. A person with respect might not like no contact, but they do not punish you, guilt you, or bait you with crumbs. They either communicate clearly or they step back. Reveal 4 is whether they use access as control. Some people keep the door open with small pings so you cannot move on. That is not love. That is keeping you available. Reveal 5 is whether your anxiety was a normal response to unpredictability. Many people fear they are the problem, but when you stop feeding an unstable bond, your body often starts to settle. That is not you becoming cold. That is your nervous system leaving a threat state. Now let us talk about the question everybody asks. Will they come back in the first week? Sometimes yes, many do. But coming back is not the same as choosing you. Coming back can be about loneliness. It can be about missing access. It can be about fear of losing control. It can be about wanting the comfort you provided. The first week reveals which one it is by the quality of the return. A real return includes repair. It sounds like, I know I went quiet and it hurt you. I want to talk. I want to fix this. Here is what I will do differently. A loop return sounds like, hey, what are you up to? I miss you. Or they act like nothing happened. The difference is simple. Real return includes repair. Loop return includes warmth without accountability. Warmth without accountability steals months. That is why no contact is not about getting a message. It is about getting truth. Now, I want to translate story versus pattern into something you can use when you are spiraling. Here are common stories in the first week, and the pattern checks that answer them. Story 1 is, they are avoidant, so silence means they care but are scared. Pattern check is, do they ever repair after hurting you, or do you always swallow it? If they never repair, silence is not love, it is lack of skill. Story 2 is, they are busy. Pattern check is, when they are busy with something they care about, do they still send one clear message and a return time? People find time for what they value. Story 3 is, they need space. Pattern check is, do they give a return time, or do they leave you guessing? Space with a return time can be okay. Space that leaves you in panic is harm. Story 4 is, maybe they are depressed. Pattern check is, do they still treat you with respect and basic communication, or do they disappear and expect you to adapt? Hard feelings do not erase responsibility. Story 5 is, maybe I should send a closure text. Pattern check is, have closure texts ever given you peace, or have they kept you attached to hope? For most people, closure texts become another chase because you want a response, not just an ending. No contact is where you stop asking for closure and start creating closure with standards. Now, let us talk about what to do in the first week, because sitting in pain with no plan is how you relapse. You need a simple recovery plan. First, reduce triggers. Remove their thread from your main screen. Mute or unfollow if needed. Not to punish, to heal. Every tiny exposure reactivates your nervous system. Second, replace checking with a body move. When you want to check, do one physical action first. Drink water. Stand up. Walk to a different room. Exhale slowly. Then decide. Most urges pass if you delay. Third, eat and sleep like you are in recovery, because you are. Low blood sugar makes anxiety worse. Sleep loss makes spirals worse. Fourth, do not romanticize pain. Pain does not mean love. Pain means your body is in alarm. Fifth, keep one simple sentence ready for if they reach out. I am open to talking. I need clarity and repair before we reconnect. That sentence protects you from being swept by sweetness. Now, let us talk about what the first week reveals about you, because this is where the real change happens. It reveals whether you have been using the bond as a source of self-worth. Many anxious people do not only miss the person, they miss the feeling of being chosen. When the person is gone, they feel like they disappeared too. No contact reveals that link, because you feel like you cannot exist without being seen. The first week is where you start breaking that link. You start building a self that exists without their attention. It also reveals whether your calm depends on the other person's mood. If your calm depends on their replies, you are living inside external regulation. No contact is where you reclaim internal regulation. Now, let us talk about what it reveals about the other person, because this is what you need for decisions. There are 3 common outcomes in the first week. Outcome 1, they do not reach out. That can mean many things, but it always means this: you cannot build safety with someone who can let you sit in silence with no care. Outcome 2, they reach out with breadcrumbs. Likes, views, casual hey, no mention of what happened. That usually means they want access without responsibility. Outcome 3, they reach out with repair. They own it, they name it, they offer change. That does not guarantee a perfect future, but it is a better sign of capacity. The first week reveals which category you are in. Now let us handle the hardest outcome. Breadcrumbs. Because breadcrumbs are the trap. They give you just enough to keep you hoping, and hope keeps you stuck. Here is the rule. Do not respond to breadcrumbs like they are a relationship offer. Respond to them like they are a repair test. One calm line. I am open to talking. I need to address what happened and agree on what changes. If they step up, good. If they dodge, you stop. That is how you stop being trained. If you respond to breadcrumbs with full warmth, you teach them that minimal effort gets full access. You also teach yourself that you will abandon your standards for a small hit of calm. No contact is how you stop teaching that. Now, let us talk about the fear that makes people break no contact in the first week. The fear is not only losing them, the fear is being forgotten. The fear is being replaced. The fear is that if you do not act, you will regret it forever. That is fear's story. Pattern truth is this: if someone is going to forget you because you did not send a text, the bond was never strong. If someone replaces you in a week, you were not being chosen, you were being used. If someone cares, your silence does not erase you. And if someone needs constant contact to remember you, that is not love. That is convenience. Now, let us talk about the one thing the first week reveals that people do not want to see. It reveals whether you were in a relationship or in a loop. A relationship has repair. A loop has resets. A relationship has agreements. A loop has vibes. A relationship has steady effort. A loop has bursts. No contact removes the bursts so you can see the baseline. That is the whole point. Now, I want to make the first week even more practical, because most people break no contact from lack of a plan when their body starts screaming. The first week has predictable danger moments. Morning is one. If you open their chat first thing, you give the spiral a head start. So, for 7 days, do not open their thread when you wake up. Give your body 10 minutes of something else. Water, bathroom, a slow breath out. You are not doing this to be strong. You are doing it to stop training your brain that the first thing you do is search for them. Afternoon is another danger moment. Energy drops and your mind gets louder. So put a simple anchor there. A snack, a shower, a short walk, a quick call with a friend. Night is the third danger moment. Memories come back, and you want one safe routine that does not involve your phone. T. Low light. A show you can half-watch. The goal is to keep your nervous system from turning bedtime into a courtroom. Now, let us talk about a common mistake. People treat no contact like a contest of who cares more. They count days like a scoreboard. That keeps you attached. Reality is simpler. No contact is for your body and your clarity. The rule is not who reaches out first. The rule is what happens if someone reaches out. Is it repair, or is it a reset attempt? Now, let us handle shared friends and shared spaces, because embarrassment makes people relapse. Have one calm line ready. We are taking space right now. I'm focusing on myself. That is it. No explaining, no defending. Over-explaining keeps you stuck. Now, let us talk about slips. If you checked their profile or reread old texts, do not shame yourself. Shame creates more urgency, and urgency creates more checking. A slip is a nervous system habit, not a character flaw. Stop, reset, go back to the plan. Now, what if they reach out in the first week? 3 common messages, 3 simple responses. The casual "hey" that ignores the rupture is usually a reset attempt. Your response is the repair gate. I am open to talking. I need to address what happened and agree on what changes. The emotional message like, I miss you, can feel like proof, but feelings are not repair, so you use the same gate. The angry message like, why are you ignoring me, is often about control. You keep it short. I am open to a calm conversation. I am not available for blame. If you want to talk, we can talk with respect. Now let us address the question people secretly have. Does no contact make them miss you? It can. Distance can create reflection, but do not confuse missing with capacity. A person can miss you and still not be safe. That is why your goal is not to be missed. Your goal is to be treated with respect and consistency. Here is another truth people need. Pain is not proof of love. Pain is what happens when your body is attached to uncertainty. You can hurt deeply over someone who cannot build with you. Pain only proves your nervous system bonded. It does not prove the relationship is safe. This is why the first week matters. It breaks the link between pain and action. You learn you can feel pain and still not chase. Now, I want to give you one simple way to know if you are in withdrawal or in intuition. Withdrawal feels urgent. It feels like you must act now. Intuition feels calm. If your urge is urgent, treat it as withdrawal. Delay it. Breathe. Eat. Move. Then decide. At the end of the first week, do not force a dramatic conclusion. Treat it as a checkpoint. Ask 2 questions. Is my life calmer when I stop engaging? And if they did reach out, did they bring repair or just warmth? If it was just warmth, you keep the gate. If it was repair, you can talk, but you still move slowly and watch for a new pattern when life is normal. That is the first week reveal. It shows you what their silence means in practice, and it shows you that you can rebuild your baseline. When you get your baseline back, you stop being reset by crumbs. You start choosing peace as your normal. One more piece that helps the first week make sense is this. No contact does not create a new person. It reveals the person you already had. If someone only shows up when you chase, no contact reveals that you were the engine. If someone reaches out only with tiny pings, no contact reveals they want access without responsibility. If someone reaches out with repair, no contact reveals they can face discomfort and still build. That is why the first week is so valuable. It removes your effort, so their effort becomes visible. Also, do not announce no contact like a threat. You do not need to say, "I am doing no contact." You can simply stop engaging. Announcing it often turns it into a game and invites power struggles. Silence is not a punishment when it is chosen by you. It is a boundary. If you feel tempted to break it, ask yourself one plain question. Am I texting for relief or for reality? Relief texting is you trying to turn anxiety off. Reality texting is you asking one calm question that gives you information. If you must send something, send one reality text, once, and stop. Something like, "I am open to talking. I need clarity and repair before we reconnect." Then you watch. And if nothing comes, you still have an answer. A bond that requires you to beg for basic communication is not a bond that will let your body rest. The first week is hard because it is the first time you stop touching the wound. But it is also the first time you stop bleeding out your peace into someone else's silence. If you can hold this week, you will feel something change. Not because they did anything, but because you did. You stopped chasing. You stopped guessing. You started treating yourself like someone worth clarity. That is what no contact is really for. Now let us close with what you should measure at the end of the first week, because people want a simple scoreboard. Measure 3 things. 1. Your body. Is it settling even a little when you stop checking? That means your nervous system was reacting to real unpredictability. 2. Their behavior. Did they show repair or only warmth? 3. Your self-respect. Did you keep your standard? Did you stop chasing relief? Those 3 measurements tell you more than any guessing. The first week is not about winning. It is about seeing. The moment you can see, you can choose. And choice is what creates peace. You do not need to hate them to choose yourself. You do not need to punish. You simply stop living inside a bond that requires you to beg for basic communication. No contact is not cruelty. It is clarity. It is the moment you stop turning your nervous system into a bargaining table and start building a life where calm is your baseline, not a reward someone gives you when they feel like it. Welcome to PsychBond. You're safe here.